And welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade. And so last time we left off, we were being vampire detectives and finding out who was the Red Hook murderer, which we found out, and he was in the office of Diego. And it's almost morning, so let's rest. You're walking down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty passerby going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by crowds of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all of those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is the old man just a tired restaurant worker or a kindred thrall tailing your movements? Are the officers idly waiting in a patrol car, ordinary cops, or the Second Inquisition, specialists looking to end undead threats? The kind of thing This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Whatever it is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun. It's coming up soon, and you'll burn to crisp if you stay on the streets. You reached your haven and settled in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. The hunger calls to you. The city skyscrapers, the seemingly never-ending spiral of the brats. It's all a prison. You need to get out. You need to take back control over your life this instant. The memory of your sire's frosty blue eyes mocks you, tempts you to show your dominance, to prove that you have the guts to take what you want. Feeding. That's just the thing. Coaxing, no. Ordering a mortal to bend to your will, drinking deep from their lifeblood. Faces pass you by, while some look more ravishing than others, any would do right now. You compose yourself, your rational mind fearing a blatant breach of the masquerade, temporary hold over the beast and its compulsions. Calming yourself is a small victory in and of itself. This semblance of command will have to do for now, but it won't last. You need to quench this hunger before it overtakes you and makes you lose control. The hunger calls to you. Too bad there's no just feeding area. I don't know why this is here. Let's go back being detectives. It's been some time since your last visit to Red Hook. You should probably get back to Diego and see if he's managed to figure out how to handle Santa. As you make your way up the stairs, you notice Diego's office is surprisingly quiet. You are half expecting something akin to the scene from The Exorcist, with Santa belching out curses and your companions spooking killing her whatever it is vampires use for holy water. What you witness instead, as you open the door, is a picture of Serenity. The girl, although still curled up in the corner, is sitting calmly, her eyes fixed on the pages of some pulpery detective novel. She's not even registered your presence. Sitting behind the desk, Diego seems to be looking over some files, puffing on his usual brand of cigar. Seeing no trace of Larson, you assume he must have gone back to his family. Noticing your presence, the vampire detective leans back in his chair and gives you a tired look. Hey there, kid. Glad you could make it. Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world. Any luck with Senna? Is she actually reading? Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world. You kidding? I wouldn't miss this for the world. Clearly noting your sarcasm, he hits back with a smile that could express anything but amusement. Right. Make yourself comfortable. We have some heavy stuff to figure out, you and I. I've been going over the case files, mulling over our options. Surprise, surprise, they all suck. No matter how we go about this, someone's gonna get her, Larson, us. We have case files? What's our options? What options do we have? We have case files? Wait, did you just say we have case files? We have those? Hey, say what you will about me, but I take my work seriously. And as my faithful assistant, you should too. So here's what we could do. 1. We grab Senna, take her to Asylum, and make a case for her to the Princess Panhard. 2. We get Valerie to back off by feeding her the dirt I got on Larson. 3. We try to get Senna out of the city. Come on, kid. I can hear them thoughts bouncing around your head from over here. Out with it. Asylum, isn't that a death sentence? What do you have on Larson? Get out of the city. And then what? It is a death sentence. I don't want to be mean to Larson. He's been helpful. Get out of the city, and then what? Assuming we could get her out of the city, what makes you think she won't kill again? Hey, I ain't gonna let her loose on another state and forget about it. I got some people up north. People I could trust. They might be able to help her. At the very least, keep her safe and make sure she doesn't do anything stupid. Asylum, isn't that a death sentence? You want to bring Sana to Asylum? Isn't that pretty much a death sentence? Pretty much, but not quite. If we could get an audience with Panhard, we might be able to convince her to spare Sana's life. The prince isn't as much is not mean as some would like her to be. She's probably rather avoid further annihilating the Duskborn community. That said, if we could run into Qadir, we are in bad shape. Okay, time is evasive. What do you think we should do? You're letting me decide? It's not my choice to make. You're letting me decide? Wait, you're letting me make the call? Look, kid, I've been at it all day, mulling it over, and all I got for my troubles was a splitting headache. I just don't know it anymore. All I'm asking is for an honest opinion. Just pick one and make a case. Convince me it's the right thing to do, or at least wrong. The wrong, at least. Or the least wrong, at least. So one more time. Bring the girl to Asylum, trade her life for Larson, or sneak her out of town. Which would you go with? I don't like number 2. You know how a city seems like the nicest option? This one might give me brownie points and put other people down. I really don't know. The thing is, if we take our city, we're most likely gonna go to the assassin. I don't want to blame Larson, and I'm leaving with Asylum. Bringing her to Asylum seems like the most reasonable thing to do. And the cruelest, or at least the very least. It's the most risky. And if we can't convince Pinyard to give Santa a shot, the girl is good as dead. Then let's be convincing. Maybe you're right. Then let's be convincing. You better be extra convincing. So be it. Do me a favor, kid. Watch her for a few minutes, okay? I gotta make some arrangement. Make a few calls. He catches himself, looks at you with an expression of the phoniest of phony guilt. But not like with a phone or anything, because, that would make me a naughty boy, which I'm clearly not. He walks out of the office, though the frost windows, you see him instantly go to his clamshell phone. Screw it, does he even really make a difference at this point? You turn to the girl, who's still in her nose in a book. Hell of a week, huh? You like the book? I hope you're ready. I don't think she's gonna respond, but you like the book? So is the book any good? I usually don't go for that stuff. It just leaves me cold. She looks up from the book with her eyes glazed over. Cold. A shiver runs down your spine. You decide at best to leave her reading and spend the next few minutes in complete silence. Finally, Diego staggers back into the room. Alright, I called a friend of mine who works at the art hall. She says the prince is there right now, in her private quarters. We just have to figure out a way to get an audience. He walks over to Sandra, crouches beside her, speaking softly. Sorry, one moment. He walks over to Sandra and crouches beside her. Speaking softly, he takes the book out of her hands and gently strokes her head. Hey, darling, I need you to listen very carefully. We're gonna go on a little trip, okay? You need to stay quiet and stay close to me. Can you do that? Stay close to Diego. She squints, trying her best to concentrate. D'Angelo. Close enough. Something akin to a smile creeps on her face as it closes to happy as you've seen her. Gift, not hurt. Diego returns her smile. You're welcome. He turns to you, putting his serious face back on. He nods. Looks like it's go time. The art hall welcomes you with all its usual weirdness and grotesqueries masquerading as contemporary art. Right. However, art is the last thing on your mind. As the three of you make your way through the crowd of usual suspects, Diego gestures towards a lone figure standing in the corner. To your surprise, it turns out to be Sophie. As you approach, she raises her eyebrow, taking an especially long look at Santa. And here I thought nothing in this world would surprise me anymore. Mind telling me what you're doing here? Diego nods contemptuously. We're here to see the Prince, Pinyard. I don't suppose you could help us get an audience. I think you're confusing me with the Prince Harold. An honest mistake in this lighting. What's a herald? Happy? In the main herald, or harpy, knows everyone and all their secrets and willing to share them with others for the right price. Harpy is originally negative infinite, but somewhere with a pride knowing the role of information broker is valued by any court. Oh. Still, I'm afraid you're out of luck. From what I've heard, the prince is not accepting visitors. I'll owe you one. She owes us. We owe her one. We owe her another one. I don't think that's gonna go well. She'll be grateful for the innocent. She doesn't care. It's a matter of life and death. She doesn't care. The only thing that makes sense is I'll owe you one. Come on, come on, help us out here. I'll owe you one. Her lips smile, but her eyes pierce you with an unflinching gaze. You already owe me, and much more than just one. Suddenly you hear a voice from behind you. It's the last voice you could possibly want to hear right now. Maybe I could help. Maybe I could help. You look over Diego's. He seems frozen in place, not able to move a single muscle. This is very bad, very bad. Keeping things casual, Kadir tips an imaginary hat to your general direction. When he looks at Santa, you notice his expression sours, if ever so slightly. Perhaps this is a conversation best held private. Follow me. Before leaving, he nods at Sophie. Langley, Kadir. Again, you glance over at Diego's, but he doesn't even acknowledge you. He seems to be at a state of deeply internalized panic. Not seeing any way out of this situation, he followed Kadir into a small backstage area. There, he stops and addresses you once more. Good to see you, Diego. It must have been a while since you last showed your face around here, and I see you brought friends. However, we skipped an unnecessary drama, and you two leave out without incident. And while I take care of our thin blood guests, she can be helped. It's not her fault. She's insane. You've got her confused with someone. Yeah, that's not gonna go there. It's not her fault that she's insane. He doesn't care. She can be helped. You don't have to do this. She could still be helped. Maybe, maybe not. But that ship sailed long time ago. It ends tonight with me. It doesn't have to be this way. Just let us talk to Pinyard. That's Prince Pinyard to you, Diego. And no, your harebrained scheme isn't going to work. What exactly do you think was going to happen? You bring the Duskborn with a blood hunt on her head to my doorstep, and what? Hope that Pinyard stays my cruel hand? Honestly, I thought you were smarter than that. But I promise to make this quick, painless. That's as much as you'll get. So don't purchase. And with that, he turns to Santa. His expression grows softer, almost kind, and then he grabs her by the hand gently. There is not even an inkling of violence in his demeanor. Come, my child. You have been very brave. The pain is almost over. Pain over? With a blissful ignorance, she looks at you and Diego as the sheriff walks her out of the room. Your companion looks broken, as if something inside him just snapped. Without even looking at you, he utters under his breath, I killed her. We killed her. Kodar killed her. You did your best. Honestly, she was insane and she was gonna kill. I was hoping to get brownie points for it. I don't think I did that. I think it would be Quidir killed her because we did kill her, but we don't want him to feel guilty. You did your best. Blaming someone else is always probably a better option to comfort people. You tried to save her. If anyone's the killer here, it's Quidir. Quidir does what he's ordained to do. I can't be mad at Scorpion for using a stinger. No, this one's on me. I really thought I could save her. Not really knowing what to say, you lift your hand to pat him on the back. You stop yourself mid-motion. Somehow, it doesn't even seem like the thing to do. You leave the art gallery, head back to Red Hook. On your way, you keep thinking about Sana, and whether now is the exact moment Quidir brings her final death. It's not a pleasant journey. Slowly, clumsily, you make your way back to the gain terminal. No words are spoken, no bad jokes made, no monologues muttered, no smile exchanged. There's only silence and vacant stares. As you head up the stairs to Diego's office, you can feel the tension rising. You can tell the moldy sleuth has reached a breaking point. He walks into office and leans against his clutched desk. You figured now is as good a time as any to break the silence. You should probably rest. Are you gonna be okay? Get it together. My instinct is always, are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna be okay? The moment you finish your sentence, Diego leans over and sweeps all the stuff off the desk. Notepad, bits of paper, and what looks like to be cheap imitation of an antique lamp. It all comes crashing to the floor. It doesn't stop there. He grabs a heavy file cabinet and knocks it over. Slowly but surely, the once quiet office turns into heaped crumbled paper and broken furniture. The tantrum lasts for mere seconds, but as you stand there watching, it feels like forever. Finally, Diego stops and looks at the ceiling. It's hard to tell if he had enough or simply ran out of stuff to throw around. As he stands there, slowly regaining composure, one of the objects shattered on the floor catches your eye. It's a small paperback novel, the same you saw Sana reading earlier tonight. It must have landed there when Diego was giving the room a royal thrashing. You pick it up in huge letters. The title covers The Longest Night and Other Stories. The smaller caption underneath, another collection of stories from Gianni di Angelo saga. What? You flip over and are immediately drawn to the picture of the back cover. If not for a lack of flaky skin and distorted features, you say this guy looks very familiar. The name next to the picture, Reginald Finch. You stand there not even knowing where to start. Even in his current state, Diego, or whatever his name is, remains one step ahead of you. Yeah, it's me in the picture. Reggie Finch. Haven't seen him in a while. Wasn't planning to. One moment. You took the name of your character? Who the hell are you? You lied to me. You took the name of your character? You named yourself after one of your characters? Right, it's more than that. I sort of became him. See, Reggie Finch was a pushover, a small-time journalist, and a wannabe writer. He would never survive out there amongst the courtiers of New York. Gianni di Angelo, on the other hand. Honestly, it's just sort of happened. I guess it was the only way I could make sense of it all. I mean, once you wake up looking like this, realizing your life and all that was gone forever. You can't really blame me for trying to at least make it interesting. It's okay to be D'Angelo. Just be yourself. I guess to some side we all put an act in front of others. We make up characters, idealized versions of ourselves. It gives us something to live up to. I wonder what I'm holding. Right here. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still weird, but it's not that weird. Diego. For a moment, he seems to be mulling over what you just told him. Finally, he picks up the ashtray up off the floor, rummaging through the ashes. He finds a mangled, half-finished cigar. He sticks it in his mouth and light up, the lighter flame reflecting in his shades. He smiles at you, ever so lightly. Thanks, kid. Tell you what, how about you take the rest of the night off? I need some time to get my ducks in order. Starting with this office. Some dumb person made one hell of a mess of it. You smile and nod, and he nods back. I'll be seeing you. And so you leave him to his thoughts. No way to be sure, but you have a feeling he's gonna be alright. The hunger calls to you. The city skyscrapers, never ending spiral. You keep on seeing this. I'm hungry. Yes. And it's nighttime. It's daytime. So go to rest. Somebody's watching me. Oh, that's a new person. A noisy reporter. Part 1. There's a sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's haven. She needs your help with a problem. That's interesting. You've been feeling as someone's been tailing you. Time to confirm your suspicions. Since we technically owe Sophie, let's go and talk to the nosy reporter. The streetlights filter into the apartment in a stark white glow, as if someone was shooting a movie outside. The art pieces displayed a tasteful, expensive, entirely fitting the image you have of Sophie. It feels as if 1,000 sins have been committed on these premises, most of them under her benevolent hospitality. Sophie comes to greet you as you enter the living room, shaking her head. You understand people judge me based on how you dress, don't you? Sophie looks at your clothes as if resigned to your sartorial limitations. I can take care of myself. I try to dress inconspicuously. I have other things to worry about. This seems like an excuse. I try to dress inconspicuously because of the masquerade. That's very sensible of you. I suppose I should commend you for that. Sophie walks to the window and looks out. The streetlights playing on her features. She reminds you of a queen contemplating the unfortunate limitations of her subject. You think as a vampire, at least we wouldn't have to worry about the vultures of the press. Unfortunately, when you have the power and ability, there's always a parasite trying to feed on you. Is there a reporter after you? I used to have a journalist friend. I'll go beat up that person. Is there a reporter after you? Yes, a terribly persistent creature. Sophie steps away from the window and settles down on a sofa, a wine glass and red liquid in it, blood. Treated as to not treated as not to spoil. You become good at noticing the scent, even from a distance. She doesn't offer you any as you cautiously sit down across from her. This awful man has been stalking my apartment with a camera. He's gone through my trash, talked to the neighbors. Please be a dear and explain to him there's nothing for him here. I'm not an errand boy. Is this about the masquerade? Is this about the masquerade? That's a big deal for us, right? Indeed, you're learning. Isn't this dangerous? This isn't unavoidable. This must happen often. For eternity makes sense. This must happen often. How do you usually deal with it? Everyone has their own way. Sometimes the problem goes away with a bit of money or sharpens. Other times you need something more. Am I in danger? Do I get something out of this? Do you know anything about the reporter? Do you know anything about the reporter? Do you know anything about the reporter? Man, woman, young, old, anything like that? All gossip reporters look the same to me. Time for you to go. I have business to attend to. You leave the apartment as Sophie disappears into another room. You don't have a clear idea what game she plays with the city's mortals and immortal power structure, but she always seems to be making a move. Outside the streets, there is a light, warm drizzle, a kind that gets under your clothes that makes you want to take a shower when you get back to your own haven. No reporters immediately jump out to you. Stay put and keep an eye out. Investigate the area. Investigate the area. You start with the basics of investigative work. As you ask the purveyors of bodega around the corner, the homeless man sleeping in a nearby doorway, and a doorman in another building whether they've seen anyone strange. Detective work produces results. You get the description of a man who sounds like a reporter. Older, overweight, pasty, and in bad physical condition. Professional camera. Once you know what you're looking for, it's not difficult. You spot a man who matches that description and you follow him. You enter an alley, a dark, dingy space between two tall buildings. Once upon a time, a place looks like this might have worried you. Made you think of muggings and violence. Now it's clear that most dangerous thing here is you. The man you're following seems to realize this too. He holds his camera out in front of him like a shield. Its heavy objective resting on his paunch. With a start, you recognize him. You remember the face. The shaded sunglasses from the picture next to a byline of some ashy paper someone thrust in your face at a company party. His name is Frank Duggery, and he's taking pictures of one of your investors filling up a sex worker at a nightclub. But you've been there too, and the funny thing was, the daughtry shown in your photos was just the tip of the iceberg. After all, work hard, play hard. Work hard and play hard was the order of the day. Hey, don't go around scaring people like that. I recognize you. I'm a huge fan. Welcome to Knuckletown. Hey, I recognize you. Seems like a best way. You're Frankly Duggery. I recognize you from that thing. You're a fake reporter, right? I'm a real reporter. So, a reporter, huh? So what are you reporting on? A lot of scoops here in a dirty alleyway? A lot of scoops here in a dirty alley? You can't be a journalist if you're not ready to get your hands dirty. Do you live here? I'm working on a story about a local resident. Her name's Sophie Langley. Everyone knows her in high society circles. She's a redhead, pretty as a picture, and there are a lot of pictures of her through the years. That's a thing. In fact, look at this. Frank pulls out his phone and starts showing you pictures. Some have been downloaded from news sites, while others are photos from the society pages of newspaper in the past decade. I'll show Sophie. She has different clothes, hairstyles, makeup, names, but all the face remains the same. That's strange. So what do you think is going on? Oh, hot. Other than that, I'm not sure. So you're a stalker of some sort. I feel like if I get friendly with him, I could get a jump on him. That's strange. So what do you think is going on? Beats me. And that's why I'm here to find out. You must have a theory about what's happening. This must be important. Be important. So why does this matter? You must have a theory about what's happening. Makes me seem like I'm excited, and maybe I want to help out. I have a theory, or two, but before I put my theory, I need facts to back it up. 3 words: extreme plastic surgery. All celebrities do it. Only her doctor is better than the rest. You look critically at the photos on Frank's phone. No doctor's that good. Hook me up with this miracle doctor. You're looking for a doctor in an alley? Hook me up with this miracle doctor. Sure, I guess. If you find who the surgeon is, let me know. I could get some work done. You're right. That makes no sense. Damn. So, how would you explain it? I know Sophie personally. Ancient medicine. It's a hoax. I don't want to say that. Ancient medicine seems funny. It's a hoax. Seems like I don't believe him. There are a lot of ancient medicines and that modern scientists don't understand. Herbal remedies, come on, that's just silly. I gotta have something usable. Dominate. Legal action. Intimidate Fink with violence. Dominate. Leave and destroy your research. I was hoping I could drink. Dominate and leave. You look for your eyes with the red behind the shades glasses. Veins pop from years of neglect of his body. Suddenly seems soft, easy to manipulate. His will is nothing but plaster crumbling under your boat. Go home and destroy your research on Sophie Langley. As your vampire gaze takes over Franklin's mind, he feels less than a person and more of an automaton, a machine you can program. Perhaps this is why older vampires are said to think of humans as nothing but animals. How could you consider someone thinking person with free will when you can override them at any moment? Frank is mumbling, funneling his camera, itching around you to the interests of Allie. He looks sad and worn as he goes. A man who is used to be something is now just a shell. It almost feels embarrassing to use your powers of your blood on someone so weak. At least you're pretty sure he'll stay away. Let's talk about someone's watching me. Sometimes I'm following you around. It's been a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is, what is this about? I don't really want to ask Sophie for help. You venture out to the streets with the goal of letting your stalker know you're aware of being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining out as you step into the streets in front of your haven. You wonder whether their help will you be able to see a footprint of your stalker in puddles on the ground. Not sure where to start. You slip a few bills to a homeless man and chat up a guy who runs a local Beluga. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of their stories seem right to you. Walking the streets, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you, and that your stalker has decided to take the night off. Frustrated with a couple hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A quarter on a motorbike zooms towards you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet of a man on the bike, and both of you know, and you both know you'll collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushing you forward. You tumble, flying to the sidewalk as the courtier zooms past. You feel a weight on your back, catching a glimpse of something, a person, female you think, and then she disappears. You can spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's been stalking you, but in your shriveled undead heart, you know it's futile. She's gone. I guess rest. The plan was to return to your haven for the day. The sun is coming up after all, but that's not what the beast has in store for you. The feeling of emptiness is overwhelming. Famishment that takes hold of you cannot be denied or bargained with. That time you could to reason your thirst over. You don't remember how it happened exactly, but you find yourself in an alley, sucking the last drops of blood of a savage scar of a corpse's neck. You killed someone tonight, and did so very close to your haven. Any attempts to cover up this pulse sources become secondary. You realize the dull glow over the city east coming up. You barely make it back to your haven in time. You realize your clothes are a mess, torn in places, covered in blood, your victim's blood. How many people saw you get into the building? You don't know. It was a panic sprint to escape the light. Instinct saving your skin. Same instinct that decided it was time to feed the beast. You cannot let this happen again. You can't ignore the hunger for as long as you did before tonight. Your humanity depends on it. Oh no. I was hoping I could feed on people, but I couldn't. There was no option to. And then the options kind of felt weird. Besides the doctor, I probably should have. The sight comes as more of a little bit shocking. If he had business with you, you either expect to see him already inside or never see him coming at all. Yet, there he is, on the other side of a peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening, may I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of answer doesn't faze him, and lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. Haven't had time to make this place your own yet. Have you? It feels like Lingy's apartment, though, through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on the shelf. Obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner aside from their aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them and smirks before putting it away. What does he want? The phenomenology of spirit. Next to all of this garbage poetry. You can make a bet. If she's reading more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. This kind of place that self-professed hermits entome themselves in to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's possible to forget the first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight or flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. He's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as you catch the town. Your mind keeps going back to the night where everything has changed forever. Waking up in hell with the body next to you, spending the night in the underground sweatbox, unsure what happens next. To end this car ride, 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty coward, the blade, a rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executioner who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he reads the emotions from yours. Not a moon to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice. He's just stating the fact. Let's get to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention on you and demanding the entry of your attention in return. You see, there's something I realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Chimera would be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for anyone to see. But that, obviously, remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators, over-ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragic, broken individuals. They are driven by a desire to make them incomparable with the masquerade, incapable with prolonged survival of the Chimera, incapable of the methods I used to operate. And so I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like Agatha Christie, protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's past, the motives, even if my failures to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound as he's peacefully resigned his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice. A voice belongs to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. Or broke him. So you see, for this detective, the why you done it is far more important than who done it or how done it. When you understand all the players and the mutual obligations, you usually understand every crime. But of course the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder. There's like a conspiracy between 2 unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's back for mutual security. Or they enforce blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall. A boss serving their employees, a rebel serving a tyrant. Just because one is regular, being forced to drink another's blood. A mystical enforced relationship between a vampire and another mortal or kindred. Drinking the blood of a vampire directly from their veins 3 times creates an intense loyalty to the drinker, resembling infatuation or obsession. The bond loses its grip with time, but is reinforced by repeated drinks from the donor vampire. Oh. Interesting. So, what has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own courtiers so fast? You are surrounded by unclear motives, which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. Why are you here? And what are your motivations? You unnerve me. And what's your motivations? Oh, and what's your motivations? Finally, you managed to raise your voice. Cordelia noticed the effort and smiled softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. That was a few nights ago. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted to the Chimera, what choice do I have? I understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I am one of the faces of New York City's community, and as long as you are a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me, especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds. One of them might endanger our community. Well, that was not menacing at all. Who's he talking about? Sophie? Someone from my quartier? Kaiser? I'm assuming Kaiser. And someone trying to recruit me into my quartier? Critter shakes his head. I'm warning them and they know it. If they're breaking the rules, they're doing it in a right way, meaning I haven't learned anything about that yet. Unless you might want to share something. I'm of awkward silence, joking mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Newman. Yes, so many memories. Benjamin Newman. The meanie face who made the last few years of your life a living hell. The harassment, the mobbing, the way he kept delegating all his obligations to you without ever letting you reap the fruits of your labor. The way he stole your soul. You look up at Quadir, expecting answers. Apparently, your company is in trouble, a lot of financial irregularities, and Mr. Newman is all too happy to testify that one employee who just suddenly disappeared is to blame. The story is as fishy as it gets, but your disappearance is being investigated, and a lot of people are searching for you. It attracts attention to us, and as such, it must be stopped. Must be stopped. Sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you to meet tomorrow, so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange what? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished businesses, and disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, clean. No contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe these nuances interacted with kind they used to hold dear. Their true natures are laid before everyone's eyes to see. Nuances? Of course, he's invested in being kind to you, or making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well. I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of to ease this that easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as last time. He closes the door on you. You need to think it through. Newman. For a long time, you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, thinking about how revenge is a dish best served cold. Someone's watching me, part 2. You're in your haven when the intercom rings, answering cautiously, you hear an older male voice. Hello, I'm calling because a friend asked me to come by and offer you my services. Uh, what do you mean services? You know, services. You know what I'm talking about. This man sounds strangely excited, breathing hard. You may have the wrong address. I need something to go on. I need something to go on. Just tell me not to talk about these things in public. I know you're one of them. Please, alright. I don't mind. You could drink with me, if you understand what I mean. A man you never seen before is paying a visit to you, an apartment not many people know of, offering to feed from him. I'm getting creeped out. Let's continue this face to face. I don't drink with people I never met. I don't trust someone just doing that. Someone says, hey, come up to this person. Yeah. I'm getting creeped out. I'm getting creeped out. I'm so sorry. Don't worry, I mean no harm. Silence. A minute passes and you hear a knock on the door to your haven. You casually open the door. A stranger looks at you sheepishly. He's in his 30s, dressed in a clean business suit. He looks modestly successful. Someone could meet an investment bank. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. True, so that's why I called from downstairs. I don't think I need this. I could probably leave. Just please leave. Please leave. I don't want to see you around here again. And whoever tell whoever sent you they could come see me themselves instead of sending lackeys. Please, feed for me. It's alright, really. The man sounds desperate. Whatever this is about, you want no part of it. I don't know. Because he's obviously knows the vampire. But it could also be a trap. I'll call the cops. I'll call the cops, and you can explain to them why you're creeping around here. An empty threat, you wouldn't call the police on your own haven, but you hope he doesn't know that. Oh please, not the cops. I can't afford to get arrested. The man takes one last learning look at you and turns around. Running down the hallway, he presses the elevator button and nervously disappears inside. You have to wonder, what is this all about? Who was this guy, and why did he show up offering you his blood? Knock knock, who asks who's there? But you don't know if the sheriff's New York would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't feel like it, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent, stay close. He leads you down to the vehicle he parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside just the way you remembered, down to the rear view mirror reflecting the intense stare of your guide. However, the trip itself seems more noticeably different. Last time Cordova drove you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. New man. You became violent just thinking about him. Let me tell you what's going on. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I said, I arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take a place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well. but I'll reiterate just so you can't say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the masquerade. Don't establish some secret well of contact. Yeah, I won't know. Don't treat it as the last time you two will ever meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. So here's the story. You're fine. You find yourself at crossroads, decide to radically change your life, and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable. The rent is too high. They've heard it all. However, you do not appreciate being accused of a crime you didn't commit. So you're back both to clear your name and strike fear into the hearts of the real culprit. By now, you should know how to cause fear among the living, right? He smirks at you. Have fun. As long as you don't leave a mess for me to clean up, we should be good. This car makes a sudden turn. I'll leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. As you sense he's going out of his way for you, he doesn't try to force you into a gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you're worthy of his aid. Well, here. You take a look around and recognize your destination. He's right, it's a familiar place. It's the office in which you wasted the better years of your life. Newman should be up there. Apparently someone is blackmailing him with documents proving his penchant for embezzlement. The poor guy is stuck in his office and he's probably pretty shaken up. The documents don't exist, but it would be a shame if someone went there, wiped the floor with the man, found proof of that he profiled funds and forced him to admit his crimes. He turns the engine off and relaxes comfortably in the seat. You sit quietly. You silently leave the car and head straight to Newman's office. The elevator ride-up doesn't seem to end. After it feels like 5 hours, but in reality, the clock closes in 30 minutes. You finally reach your floor. Your ex's boss sitting in his office, just like Whittier said. He looks, how can you put it, as if he just Googled body language of alpha males. An attempt to poorly copy the most cartoonist posture in order to intimidate the blackmailer. Out of habit, you take a deep breath as you step inside the office. Oh, I can breathe. Time? He immediately relaxes. Oh, it's just time, his eyes say as slightly grin appears beneath them. Forget to ask for a vacation? People were worried. You know, not to mention overworked to hell and back. Then overworked some more. Someone had to take over your responsibilities. And guess what? Just as we started digging into your work, some unexpected financial irregularity starts popping up. We need to work on a common story to explain these, you see. You keep quiet and just stare him down. The poor idiot still thinks he's the predator in the room. Let's see how long it takes him to realize his mistake. Newman senses you're different, somehow. He attempts to stare back, but fails to withstand your glare. He starts to wonder what's going on, and quickly arrives to a conclusion. Wait a second. So you're the one who sent me that message. Now that's a laugh. He starts approaching you. Sweetheart, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. You think you could convince anyone that you never knew what was going on around here? Fat chance. And even if you did, you know my friends. They'll never let you live it down. He's right. In front of you, licking his lip, pondering the best way to display his complete physical superiority, you won't give him the chance. Throw him outside the building? I don't want to be physical because that will leave marks. Throw him outside the building. I think we're upstairs, so that might hurt him and obviously see something happen. And I like this option. Before Newman blinks, you stare in front of him with his arm crossed. After he blinks, your hand is already on his throat. He freezes up. He watches you get to his face and slowly brandish your long fangs. A loud, throaty, inhuman growl rings out throughout the office and begins to morph into a violent hiss. For a moment, your ex-boss can't identify the source of the overwhelming sound. Rather, his brain refuses to accept that Your relatively small body is capable of generating a noise like this. As he begins to understand and process the unnatural sight of your fangs, he is gradually overpowered by animalistic fear that shatters his entire worldview. You were supposed to be a victim. Why are you a threat? Why did reality break? You slowly tighten grip on his neck. It's not hard enough to trigger a fight or flight response, but enough to strike deeper fear into his heart. Kneel. The man complies with the other man, squealing softly, a single tear making his way down the supple cheek. Obey. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't kill me, please. You gather your strength and throw him, slamming him against the desk. Your born bedroom predator has met his better in his place he least expected. You slowly start walking towards him. Stop. I'll get it. I'll do it. Oh. With a shaking hands, he scrambles towards a safe on a shelf. He opens and takes out some document files. This is what you want. You rip the papers from his hand, browse them. These should be enough to, as Cordelia prove his purchase of embezzlement. I'll clear your name. Tell them somebody else. You twist your needle into his hand, and he screams, I did it. I'll tell him I did it. You better do that. Next time, I bite your throat. Leave in silence. And if you don't, I'll visit again. You walk into the elevator and press the ground floor button and wave at Newman as the doors starts closing. You mumble something under and Princess in pain. Back to Kadyr's car. Once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets, said everything you had to say. I wiped the floor with him and got the documents that should keep him in check. That meanie face will be looking over his shoulder constantly for the rest of his life. Greer smiles thieveishly. Looks like you take care of business, as expected. I don't need to tell you how to hang onto those documents, but keep in mind that you can use them for more than a security guarantee. We're always looking for more contacts among big fish. Once you settled in, you could use what you know of Newman to convince the elders that he's better off as your ghoul. Explains less. Now that an enticing thought, you're surprised at his suggestion. The car speeds up across the intersection before the light turns red. You give Cordelia a hard look. Why are you not being mean to me? Thank you. Good job of setting it all up. Thank you. Thanks. It doesn't feel like a, how do you call it, a very vampire thing to say, but you say it nonetheless. He's visibly taken back, and his usual brow smooth out for a moment. Then he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without a doubt, he will go back decapitating suckers like you anytime now. The car starts slowing down. We're here. You look out the window. See you, Haven. Take care. I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to Haven, thinking about Cordelia. You can't say you're fond of him, what with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight, you can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him. That's for sure. Ooh, reporter guy. You taking care of... Someone's still stalking out Sophie's apartment. He's not that stupid, is he? Cold weather The weather is cold and windy as you walk to Sophie's apartment. As a vampire, that doesn't matter anymore. You may have been settled with eternal hunger, but at least you can ignore the wind chill. Just as you come to the door of Sophie's building, the storm out murmur into her phone. Yes, I know. Don't worry. I trust you to handle it. So you heard Sophie talk to her associate before. It's always the same. Generalities and vague suggestions. It makes you think she's involved in mysterious machinations, yet it doesn't tell you anything. Sophie is dressed to kill, but there's nothing unusual in that. She likes to make an impression. A black car with tinted windows is waiting for her in the front of the door. A chauffeur steps out of the car door for her. Sophie notices you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. If you could look around for me for one more time, that'd be wonderful. If you could look around for me one more time, that'd be wonderful. You told me you've gotten rid of that reporter. Turns out he's still here snooping around. So he's very good at community disappointment. She doesn't have to do much to make it clear that she's unhappy to have returned to this issue. I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. After tonight, he won't cause you any more trouble. Good. Don't disappoint me. The reporter talks his way into the building during the day. Once the doorman understood what's happening, he threw him out. He showed old pictures of me to my neighbors. It's very awkward, you understand. Sophie disappears into the car and chauffeur closes the door behind her. You watch as a sleek vehicle disappears into Manhattan traffic. Just one anonymous car among many. Best sit down somewhere and devise a plan of action. You go to a nearby diner, settle in booth, and order a coffee from the steely-eyed Latina waitress. As she brings you your cup, you describe Frank Daughtry to her on the off chance she's seen something. She's just as about to answer as you happen to look outside. Something catches your eye. The diner is brightly lit, so you lean closer to the window and see a street through. You got lucky. Frank is standing at the sidewalk on the other side of the street looking for something on his phone. You slid out of the booth, throwing a few small bills on the table, mumbling something to the waitress. You step outside. Follow Frank covertly. Yeah. For a reporter, Frank isn't temporarily observant. You keep your distance, hiding behind people, cars. But he doesn't look around. He seems like he wants to find a private nook to inspect photos he took tonight. An alley, he ducks in and you follow. Oh god, it's you again. Please, I'm working on a different story, I swear. Frank retreats deeper in the alley. Let's have a friendly chat. In that case, you might mind a little friendly chat. I am all about being friendly. Okay, I'm sorry. I tried to BS you. Just tell me, how can I help you? I thought we agreed there's no story. No? How come here? I thought we agreed there's no story. Usually when someone says there's no story, that means there's a story. I just couldn't let it go. Look, I don't want any trouble. I can see that you're serious. There's something to Sophie. I think you know what it is. You take a long, hard Frank. He's a treacherous man, but not brave. After the last time you met, you sure he's been dealt with. Where did he find the courage to come here again? What's your real angle? I like you, Frank. Don't give up. What's your real angle here? Everyone plays an angle. That's one of my things you learn in my profession. You're smart. You know that there will be others after me. If there's a real story, they'll come and find it. Your best shot is with a friendly reporter, someone you can trust, someone like me. So what do you say? Go ahead. Get ahead of the story. It'll be good for you and Miss Langley too. You almost believe it, but something about Frank feels off. Do you have a personal interest in this? Is this about blackmail? I don't like this option. You already sunk pretty low, Frank. But blackmail? That's rock bottom. You sure you want to go that far? No. I still have my pride. I've never done this before for money. It's a lifestyle, a calling. Working on a speech, are we? I see you're working on your poltergeist acceptance speech. Sometimes I just need extra money, that's all. Where does this extra money come from? Narrow? We're finally getting somewhere. Was that so difficult, Frank? Where does the extra money come from? There's a guy, he's paying me, that's all, but I can't talk about that. So I do want to drink him dry, but also he has some information about someone's paying me, that's all. Offer Frank to work for you? I don't think that would work. Push Frank for more information seems like the best bet. Come on, you can give me more than that. No, not really. I don't even know all that much about these people. What do your instincts tell you? Do they pay you? Why are they interested? What do your instincts tell you? You're a reporter, what do your instincts tell you? I'm not sure. I can't get a handle on them. I don't think it's a blackmail or a business rival or an ex. Okay, that's enough. I can't tell you anything more. You've got to consider the position I'm in. We're not done, Frank. Fine, I'll leave her alone. I'm done with this. This is all it. You can tell Sophie Langley that you won't see me again. Frank leaves the alley. You consider it your victory. He surrounded defeat. Sincere. Is it really up to him whether he returns or not? I didn't want that. I probably should have drank him dry. Okay, I have 4 people now. Honestly, I'm gonna be calling this a night. I kind of want to do some work on more behind the scenes work. So this is where we're gonna be ending it. Let's see here. I'm gonna raid my friend Yerika, seeing if... Oh no, there's more people now. Sure. Why not? I'll raid... Well, have a good night. Well, that's sad I can't do that. Um, well, then I'm just gonna end the stream. Have fun and be safe.